preach to somebody in here today who may be down to your last hour, your last phone call, your last dollar. God sent me here today to tell you that if you handle what's left in your life just it is enough to launch you into the next season. It is enough to bring you into your healing. It is enough to deliver revival. It is enough to put your family back together again. Whatever is left is enough to live on. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7 teaches us that our seed is what determines our future. Would you say amen every once in a while? Our seed is what determines our future. Your brother-in-law does not determine your future. The judge does not determine your future. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7 says that God is not mocked. Whatever a person sows, that will they also reap. You ain't even nodding at me now. The reason you're in trouble right now, it's not because somebody betrayed you. It's not because somebody put a shank in your back. It's because you didn't manage your seed right. And now you are reaping what you said 10 years ago. Now you are reaping how you lived 7 years ago. Now what you did 6 months ago is catching up to you. Well, Pastor, you preaching the hope out of me. No, I want to tell you that the next 10 years can be different if you handle the seed that you have left now. You can walk into your healing. Your son can come in the back door of this building next week. Your family can be restored. You need to go on the day, kick the door open on your house and tell the devil, go to hell. It is not over for me. It is not over for my family. It is not over for my ministry. It is not over. The law of seed time and harvest time, my brother, is not a philosophy that you develop by watching Dr. Phil. It's not something that Oprah teaches you. It is a law. And when you say, well, I'm just not sure that I even really believe in that as such. It's immaterial whether or not you endorse it. It's immaterial whether or not you accept it. It is you ain't gonna say anything. You say, well, I'm just not sure that I believe in that. Listen, sweetheart, you may not believe in the law of gravity, but if you step out on the edge of this building today, we're going to scrape you up with a spatula whether you believe in the law of gravity or not. So it is with sowing and reaping. You may not believe it, but you're reaping right now what you sowed last year. But right here in the front of the greatest year of your life, you can dig up the ground, sow something new in, and before this year closes, you will have the greatest harvest you have ever had. Your seed determines your future. That ought to make somebody happy right there. Nobody else. Your ex doesn't have control of your future. The economy doesn't have control of your future. You have it by how you manage your seed. Just to establish my premise, and then I will illustrate for you, if I may, 3 ways that we suffer loss and we may recover divinely. But let me, if I may, suggest this premise for your consideration. Your seed determines your future, and you see that illustrated in no more dramatic way than in the story of the drought that came upon Israel at the word of the prophet Elijah. Can I just take 30 seconds to preach on that for a minute right there? A drought in a desert. You ain't saying anything. I mean, this isn't for everybody. This is just for my people. But do I have anybody in here who knows what I'm talking about? It's dry right now, but it ain't like it's ever been that good before. I mean, I've been to the promised land, Pastor. I put my foot down in the burning sands of the desert. And what a disappointment to discover that Palestine, the land of promise, is nothing more than a dry desert. The reason God said it would flow with milk and honey is not because, I'm about to get myself happy, it's not because it'd be there when they got there, but God said to Abraham, when you get there and put your foot down, I'm going to bless it just because you are that. I'm going to need to get another 45 seconds on the clock, because God just told me to tell somebody that what he's doing in your life this year is bigger than what you think it is. Joshua came to town, and Joshua didn't just say, give me my mountain. Oh, no, they write songs about that. They preach sermons about that. But Joshua said, I didn't just come to get my mountain. I want the land that God swore to my fathers. God told me to tell you it's bigger than what you think it is, because he made a promise 5 generations generations ago to your family on another continent. He made a promise, and you need to announce to the devil, I want it all back. I want back what you stole from me, but I want the dignity you took from my father. I want the ministry you took from my grandfather. I want back what God promised to my fathers in the old country. Shove somebody and shout, I want it all back. Can I talk to you for a minute? Can I just tell you something? Let me just talk to you for just a minute. You're trying to make me preach. Let me just talk to you for a minute. Listen, listen. In the middle of a drought, in a desert, it ain't ever like it's been that good, but now it's worse than it's ever been. You ain't saying nothing. Valentine's Day weekend. Glenn, I'm so excited. Pastor said couples can go. Me and you, we going to the banquet after church today. Tomorrow, 22 years. I'll be celebrating my 22nd anniversary tomorrow. Well, I can see by the way you're reacting, it isn't like it is at our house, at yours all the time. We throw a party every year, and I got married in my mother's front room 22 years ago at 10500 South Drake Avenue on the south side of Chicago in a little quiet ceremony. And somebody said, well, when are you going to have a ceremony? I said, if we make it 25 years and nobody gets shot, nobody goes to jail, we don't even call the police too much, then we're going to throw us a look. Don't look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. It ain't ever been that good at your house, and right now it's worse than it has ever been. God sent me here to tell you, I don't care how dry it is, there is a seed somewhere left over with which you can relaunch your ministry. You can salvage your marriage. You are going to make it. There's always something left over. A drought in a desert, and the only thing that could complicate that situation is there's a widow. Nobody to cover her. That's the type and shadow. That's the metaphor. That's unlocking the secret of the text. That there's nobody to cover her. There's nobody. Do I have a witness in here? You know, you didn't have a rich uncle. You didn't have a rich dad. Matter of fact, you could barely remember his name from the Saturday afternoon visits at the county lockup. There wasn't anybody to take care of you. And now here you are in the worst place you have ever been in your life. I suppose the only thing that could cause the narrative of this drama to exponentially set is that the preacher comes to town. The preacher comes to town, and you know what he's going to do before it's over with. Every head bowed, every eye closed, the ushers are coming with envelopes. Would you pray about the most generous seed that you could sow? Can I get a witness in here? And the preacher doesn't understand, man, it ain't ever been that good, and right now it's worse than it's ever been. Would you get your wife by the hand and walk her down there? No, I won't. I didn't even want to ride to church with her today. Would you get your babies by the hand and bring them to the altar? No, I ain't going home with them either. I'm sending them to the neighbor's house. It's drier than it's ever been. And the preacher says, where's your seed? Shove your neighbor and tell him, show me what you're working with. I need to see what you got. I need to see what's left over, because whatever's left, I don't care how bad it is. I don't care how ragged it is. I don't care how bloody it is. Whatever is left over is enough for you to start again. Just a little flour, little oil. That's all I got. It ain't much, but it's all I got. And the prophet said, show me what you're working with. She said, we're just going to eat it and die. Can I get 15 seconds right there? That's why some of you are headed to worse trouble than you in right now, because the enemy wants you to consume your seed. He wants you to get them to soccer practice and band practice and baseball practice, but never get them to the house of God on a Wednesday night. The enemy wants you to consume your seed. Today is the day that you put your foot down and tell the devil, you cannot have my seed. It's all I have left to redeem my time, my talent. Does that make sense?